What's going on, wrestling fans? Welcome into Near Falls with D Hall, a wrestling podcast, episode number 71. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about and with a bunch of different college coaches from across the area at the Division 1, 2, and 3 level. Super excited to release this, guys. It's been a lot of work, a lot of fun talking to all these different coaches from around the area. Super excited to get into it. But if you haven't already, go back, check out my long form interviews that I released this summer. Joe Marcara, Mackenzie McGuire, Ty McGeary, and just recently Rob Walker, who I just sat down with, episode number 70. That was a lot of fun. Go back and check out those long form episodes. I really enjoyed having those guys over. And coaches, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, taking time out of your busy schedule this time of year. I know it's a lot. Sitting down and talking about your squad. But yeah, man, a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoy this edition of the NCAA preview, brought to you by Switch Custom Apparel. Okay, joining me now on the call, next coach, head coach of Mercyhurst University, Coach Mike Whaler. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Oh, man, I am super pumped up to have you on. I've had a few guys on over the years that were from Mercyhurst or have Mercyhurst ties. Not far from where we are down here in the Whippeal. But, yeah, man, first things first, I got to ask. I seen it going on, making its rounds on social media. Josh Shields getting the call. That's pretty cool, man.
No, it's awesome. I've been hoping for this moment for a while. Josh is very special to me, not only as an athlete, but our relationship has grown quite a bit over the years. And, talking to him about dad stuff now when we used to be talking about technique and training stuff and coaching stuff. He's just such an awesome dude. And to be able to share that moment with him was really important to me. So actually, I got the call. I quickly called Isaac because I knew there was going to be a practice somewhere.
Go figure. You could probably find him on a wrestling mat, right?
Yeah. So Isaac said, "Yeah, he'll be there. He'll be there tonight at 7." So I said, "Hey, can you just shoot him a text and make sure he's coming?" Because I knew it'd be kind of random if I reached out. I didn't want to tip him off. So then got off the phone with him, called his wife, had her and the kids come, called his dad, and then called Jordan, and just called Dakota. Dakota was state champ for Josh and All-American for me. We just tried to get anybody that was in the area that could make it to discreetly show up, and then he just thought I was popping by. I sent him a text a little bit before practice started. Said, "Hey, I'm in the area. If I can make it, I'm gonna show up." And he's just like, "Awesome." I popped in and kind of hijacked his practice a minute. He was in the middle of teaching something. I interrupted him and then used that as a little segue to. I wanted it to be in front of his family and his team because they don't know him as a competitor. I know they've heard stories and stuff, but he's Coach Shields to them.
Right.
And he's always been Coach Shields, and they see what a fantastic coach he is. But I wanted to make sure they were a part of that moment as well, because he does so much for that community, and they're so important to him, and he is important to them as well. So I just wanted all that to be there. So it was the best drive I had. Just getting ready for that thing. So excited on the way.
Oh man, you had to been like a kid in a candy store calling everyone like, "Guess what this news is, man?" That's so cool, man.
Yeah, it was one of those where you can't tell too many people because
Right.
you don't want somehow to tip him off and blow it. But man, the whole thing, like I sort of had a plan in mind on how I want to do it, but his wife Kylie walked out with the kids like in the middle of the mat at like the perfect time. It was to me it was just perfect. I think it means a lot to him. Certainly it means a lot to me for him, but
Yes, sir.
just kind of that sort of that icing on the cake of a fantastic time we've had together. And like I said, it's evolved. It started as coach athlete. Like I remember the first time we met. In the conversation we had, I remember where we were. I just knew he was special the whole time, and I watched what he put into his craft and becoming who he became because of what he did, and then watch him evolve into a coach and then into dad. He's got 3 awesome kids, and just being there together with all of them last night was really a awesome moment for me.
I love that. Love that. Yeah, man. No doubt. I found to love the Burrow program, Josh. That community is something special, no doubt. The guy that usually does my co-host, he coaches football for Burrow. His name's Mark Zonowitz.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marky K.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. He's the man, and
Yeah.
he talks about you a few times. But yeah, it just learning about that community, it's definitely special. And Josh is for sure a cornerstone, no doubt.
For sure.
All right, moving on. Enough with the sappy stuff, dude. Let's get into the wrestling. All right. How's the off-season program going up there in Erie, PA?
It's going well. We actually just started our official practices, but we have a young team this year, so it's changed a little bit. We graduated quite a few older guys last year, so anytime you have a younger crew, you got to start at the beginning and kind of build up a little bit. So that's been a lot of the focus so far. But we got some good young energy in here, and I'm excited.
Yeah, man. Looking down your list, obviously a highlight for me is Max Stediford, North Allegheny guy, Whippy boy, of course. But you have some like high end talent. Jake Niffenegger, really tough kid. He's a Cincinnati boy, correct?
Yep. We actually have 3 guys out of Cincinnati.
Ooh.
Jake. So Dylan Walker was the first one we signed. Dylan Walker, we got it had been 2 years ago. He actually wrestled Rooney Lawrence in the Powerade finals and won Powerade. And then we had a really good recruiting process with him. He committed here and was actually an All-American as a true freshman. And then that introduced us to Chase Stein and Jake Niffenegger. And both of them had excellent senior years. We were able to sign them both. Chase was in the state finals. Jake was a state champ. And really kind of tapped into that school a little bit, sort of like the old times with the Burrow connection.
Hey, man, that's what it's all about, right? Little pipelines and stuff.
It is. You know what it is, though? It's like I'm certain most coaches will say this. As soon as you get one from an area or from a school, then their buddies start looking into it, and then you start to have more success. To be honest, like we've tried to get kids out of Cincinnati for years and just didn't have a lot of success. And when we got Dylan, it just turned into a lot more looks. Once Dylan came here, people were like, oh, I know Dylan, and then that started. So Dylan was a big catalyst for getting us into the Cincinnati area.
Love that. Just further touching on the recruiting as we kind of dive into that. It's so different now, right? Even from 5 years ago, 10 years ago. What is one of my big questions I have for all the college coaches this year? What is the difference in as far as transfers and high school guys, and how are you trying to build your roster? Is it a year in and year out process, or are you guys trying to build for the long haul?
I think everybody's trying to build for the long haul, but if there's an opportunity to fill a need and that opportunity is available, then I think that's where the transfer stuff comes in. It's like anything else. There's goods and bads to it. For the longest time, a coach could not release a kid, and a kid could be stuck. So it's like, once things get abused, then things start to open up on the other side. But I think it's good. I think in general, if you treat your kids well and they have a good experience, then most of the times they stay. And if it's not the right fit, it gives them a chance to move on.
Gotcha. Okay, next question I have for you. What does your coaching staff look like this year?
So we actually just hired our first full-time assistant ever. I've had GAs and part-time.
Look at you moving up in the world, man. That's awesome.
What a game changer that is. I got to tell you, I think we're 3 weeks into it, and it's already been holy cow. So this is what they talk about.
Right.
It's been incredible. We hired a guy named Kyle Greenwald who's doing fantastic. he wrestled under Keith Ferraro at Clarion. Keith's a very good friend of mine, and really gave me some confidence talking to Keith that Kyle was the right guy. And Kyle's been around a few different places. He was actually down in Florida the last few years, running a club, coaching some high school guys. But he's just a very passionate and energetic person. Loves wrestling, so he's been awesome for me.
That's awesome. All right. What does your schedule look like this year? And I like diving into this question because everyone kind of builds it differently. I mean, there's a lot of similar thoughts processes out there, but it is kind of like the question when you get into college wrestling and how you build for ultimately what is the end of the season, right?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of dual meets. We're gonna wrestle. I want to say the last 2 years now we've wrestled duels in very early November. I don't want to say definitively, but that's pretty much the only time we've done that. And last year we wrestled Indianapolis, Glenville State, and Findlay outside on a football field. That was pretty unique.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Where was that at?
That was down at Glenville State.
Okay, cool.
It was really unique. Like the first match, everybody's sweating, and by the last one it was getting a little chilly. So it was kind of went through the gambit there. But we're starting off with a bang this year. We have West Liberty, who's got a fantastic team. I go back and forth. Like, I prefer duels over the tournaments, but obviously from a coaching perspective, you get a better idea what your team is after a few matches at tournaments and making decisions on who's redshirting, who's going, who's like, if you're going to make changes. So I think every coach is in the same spot though. You're putting together the best lineup you got at the moment, and you're going to go compete. But I'm a big fan of duels, so Danny and I were able to come up with a date. We've wrestled in some tri-meets, but we finally got the home and home back. So they'll come up here this year. We'll go down there next year. So
I love that.
I'm excited. So we start with West Liberty. I want to say November 9th, and then we have a couple opens, and then we get back into some duels the beginning of December. So I try to use December. We're a Pennsylvania dominant region, but we're so close to a lot of these other really good programs. Ashland, West Lib, Lake Erie's got a really nice team. So we'll wrestle those guys in November and December, because sort of once January hits, you're locked into a conference schedule.
I hear you. Yeah, I mean, I like the different thought process, man. It's always an interesting question to ask. All right, when are wrestle offs, and what does that look like for you guys? Are you guys like? That's another interesting question. Some guys are like, I want to put them online. I want to put them in front of everyone. Other guys are like, nah, we're doing it in-house in practice. What's your thought process?
Yeah, so I go back and forth with even the value of wrestle offs. So in the past, like, we've done them more in the past year because we've had earlier duels. Like I said, a lot of times we figure that out at opens. You kind of get a better feel for what's going on there. They're just such a unique thing. Like, you have, with last year we had them in the gym. You could have heard a pin drop. It was uncomfortable for everybody. So
it is a little weird, right? You can't root for anyone, right? And it's kind of like,
yeah. And even the kids are wrestling their buddies. So it's like, I believe they're a piece of information, but I don't think it's all the information. So they're sort of as needed. If I feel like that's the right move, then we'll do it. We've done it both ways. Generally, I feel like it kind of figures itself out over time. But with the early duels, you're kind of forced into one early.
Gotcha. Okay, next question I have as we kind of wind down here. Streaming options. Is there a website where we can find you guys wrestle?
Yeah, so the PSAC Digital Network streams all of our matches. I should probably know this, but I
It's
know
okay.
I know we stream the duels that aren't PSAC matches.
Right.
I don't know if we just use the same network or just run it through ours, but if anything came out of COVID that was positive, it was that everybody learned how to stream.
It's the
So
truth, no doubt.
there's a lot more access to matches now because I believe that pretty much everybody's always streaming. I mean, there's plenty of nights where I sit in here and watch some competition have a dual meet somewhere else. So
No doubt. Okay, Coach. Next, actually, the last question I have for you: is there anyone else or anything you want to shout out before I leave you go?
oh, that's an open-ended question there, isn't it?
It is. Go ahead. The floor is yours, my friend.
Well, I just had a great weekend with the alumni. The alumni all came back. We had incredible participation at our golf outing, and so if we can keep those alumni engaged, coming to matches, and
All right, I got to stop you. Golf outing. That's my secondary sport. I love me some golf. Did you play?
yeah, did I play? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
we had 11 teams basically of alumni.
That's
There's some
awesome.
bad golf going on there.
That's okay. Where did you guys play at? Is it up towards your way in Erie?
Yeah. So there's a course about a half hour from here out in Northeast that we have it. We've had an outing for years, and then took a break with it the last few years because we kind of forced into it.
Right.
Got everything going again, and had an awesome turnout from alumni. Even the ones that couldn't make it showed some participation. Turned out to be a great fundraiser for us, and we had a great time.
That's awesome, man. Hey, thank you so much for hanging out with me and chopping it up. And good luck to you guys this season. And I'm sure we'll be in touch. I'm gonna do a Tuesday show this year, and I'd love to have you on a Tuesday or one of the guys as the season goes on.
Yeah, we can do both. So anything you need, feel free to reach out.
Coach, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, buddy.